in-front shot. Oh my!
Here to celebrate Georgetown! The Georgetown Raiders are Buckland Cup champions!
The Trenton Golden Hawks, the R. Hewitt Cup champions, are going to Cobourg.
Back to Minerva. Shot scores! And the Cobourg Cougars are the Royal Bank Cup champions!
Evans bunting, they score! Frank Poche, the game winner, and the Buckland Cup winner!
And down the stretch they come. The regular season is just about finished as teams made one last desperate push to improve their position, or in some cases simply try to clinch a playoff berth. More coming up in just a moment. This is the OJ Today. Welcome back, everybody. Later on in the show, Alex Bloomfield will join me via Skype to review some of the games from the past few days, plus examine who the top players in the regular season have been, guys that just might end up taking home the hardware this year. But first, OJ highlights. And the fifth game on the CHCH Game of the Week calendar featured two teams that at one point were separated by as much as 21 points in the standings. Aurora held that advantage over Pickering in early December, but have since been in a free fall. They'd lost 16 of 20, 5 straight, and the Panthers had whittled that lead down to just 6 points when they hit the ice on Saturday. OJ Highlights now brought to you by Hilton Hotels. Hilton, the official hotel of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. Now, despite their losing streak, the Tigers could clinch a playoff berth with the win in this game. Pickering, though, had taken 5 of 6 against them this year, but the Tigers get out to a good start, and it's definitely one that Pickering goalie Tanner Shepard would love to have back. Watch again here as the shot will go up, over, and in. Ouch. Nolan Turry getting credit for it. 5 minutes later, they get another golden chance. Jacob Ball chopped on the breakaway. Leads to the call of a penalty shot. Shepard, though, this time shuts the door. Nice stop. Dying seconds of the first now. Watch the clock here in the upper right corner. The score bug is synced to the score clock in the arena. The buzzer, however, doesn't sound until after Tyler Davis puts it in the net. So the Tigers celebrate, thinking they've gone up by 2. Great job by the officials, though, to recognize the time had actually expired. Second stanza, the Tigers looked like the squad that was so powerful earlier in the season.
Varga on the wing against Altimer. Gets around him. Varga's got room out front and he scores!
Baby.
Jack Varga and the Aurora Tigers are in front 2-0.
Jack Varga, all 5 feet 6 inches of him, shrugs off the defender for the masterful rush. Now on the opposite end of the size spectrum, 6'7" Steve McClain gets this play going. Tic-tac-toe, Jacob Ball with the finish. Gorgeous play. The Tigers have a bit of breathing room, up 3-0 after 40. Final frame now. The Panthers cut into that lead. Daniel Ibrahim beats Luca Durante stick side, and it's a perfectly placed shot to make it 3-1. Pickering would get no closer on this day, though, as the Tigers snap a 5-game losing skid and officially qualify for the postseason with that win over the Panthers. A West Division battle as Oakville hosted Burlington on Monday, and the ice wasn't even dry yet when the Blades hit first. With the man advantage, Jason Pinio, the tip in front right there, past Matt Dunsmore, and he makes it 1-0 for the Oakville Blades. The Cougars would even it up midway through the period, though. The rubber taking a funny bounce right to the feet of Keenan Stewart out front. He makes it 1-1. That was the score after 20. Second stanza. It's Harrison Israels with an absolute beauty. Takes the feed from Josh Nixon. Dipsy Doodle past Dunsmore. 2-1 for the home squad. And then it's Pinio doing it all himself here. He uses Peyton Reeves as a decoy and goes roof daddy past Dunsmore. Gorgeous. And the big Family Day crowd, over 1,500 strong. They were loving it, eating it all up. And just a minute later, another weird bounce ends up in front of the net. Spencer Kirsten pounces, and Oakville was in the driver's seats. They take a 4-1 lead into the dressing room at the break. Final stanza, they would add to it. More nice passing here, and the sweet finish by Jack Ricketts as he rips it past Dunsmore. His 20th of the campaign. The Blades have 4 20-goal scorers this year and 4 others that have 19. Great balance. Burlington gets one back very late in the third. Matt Hobbs out front will knock it past Chris Elliott right there, but too little too late on this day as the Blades drop the Cats by a 5-2 count. Okay, Georgetown have had serious trouble scoring lately, and that trend continued against Newmarket. They looked disinterested in the first period, and it killed them. Adamo Santia bulges the twine, 3:57 in to make it 1-0 for the Hurricanes, and just a $1.03 later, the point shot gets tipped home by Derek Sweeney. Newmarket pads its lead to 2-0, and that would prove to be all they would need on this day as they drop the Raiders 2-0 from Alcott Arena. 60-second Spotlight is brought to you by Troy Hockey Apparel, the official jersey of the OJHL.
Stephen McClain, defenseman, Aurora Tigers. What I bring to the ice is a calming influence, shut down defensemen with some offensive ability, compete night in and night out. Being captain of the Aurora Tigers is a great honor. I feel like I bring a lot of leadership on and off the ice. I give it everything I got in practice and in games. Being 6'7" on ice is you're looking over people and heads over everyone, and you're easy to spot out, that's for sure. This team is something special. We think we have the tools to make it on a far run. We're just taking it day by day, and hopefully we can do that.
Score! The Tigers are gonna win tonight!
This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar, the official energy bar of the OJHL. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. There's been a serious battle taking place for the last few weeks in the West Division between Burlington, Brampton, and Georgetown. Now, all 3 clubs have been fighting for third spot. Now, why is third so vital, you may ask? Well, for one, whoever finishes 4th will have to play the Oakville Blades in the first round of the playoffs, a club that's ranked 3rd in all of Canada. Not a good scenario. Whoever drops to 5th will have to play a sudden death crossover game against the North Division's Pickering Panthers for the final playoff berth. So there was a ton on the line in Monday's tilt between the Raiders and the Admirals in Brampton. These squads were separated by just a single point in the West Division. It's the Admirals that draw first blood. Mason Saris keeps it himself and rips it past Carson Poulin. 1-0 for Brampton, and they would pad their lead in the second frame. Aiden Timmermans to Rocco Andriacci. Boom! The twine, it bulges, and Brampton was up 2-0 on the Raiders, but G-Town showed a lot of heart. Look at the sweet passing here as they go tic-tac-toe past Travis Smith. Bailey Malella the finish, and the deficit was cut to just 1. And then stir the pot. It's Jordan Crocker taking over. He keeps it himself, wrists it past Smith. A massive goal for G-Town. That ties it up and gives them a crucial point in their pursuit of Brampton. It finished up 2-2. Okay, on paper, this was a mismatch. First in the East, Cobourg hosting 5th place Kingston, but the Voyageurs came to play. No scoring until the third, where the goals came fast and furious. Bryce Laurie breaking the goose egg, 1-0 Kingston. 5 minutes later, the Cats hit back. Nicholas Favaro. Boom goes the dynamite. Vicious one-timer. It's 1-1. Just a $1:30 after that, Andrew Sirius will find the back of the net, and Kingston back out front, leading 2-1. Back and forth they went. Jean-Philippe Moquin makes the first stop. Mac Lowry eats up that rebound, though, and he squares it at 2 apiece to send this one off to overtime. In the extra frame, Brett Bannister has a chance to finish it. Moquin says, I don't think so. Big stop. And then soon after, Nick Robertson coming through in the clutch. He rips it home to give the V's the win and a moral victory. As they drop one of the OJ's top teams, it won't soften the blow of missing the playoffs. A big win nonetheless. Well, the Pickering Panthers squandered a golden opportunity to get that much closer towards clinching a playoff berth last Saturday against Aurora when they fell 3-1. The good news for them was that same night, the Georgetown Raiders looked far from inspired against Newmarket, getting shut out at home 2-0. Pickering had another opportunity to gain ground on the Raiders the following day as they traveled to North York. It was a Herculean task for the Cats, trying to take down the 8th-ranked team in Canada, and they were taking it on the chin early. Daniil Kuzman, the monster, open ice hit in the first frame right there. Second period, the Rangers draw first blood. Brandon Yeamans will get the pass at the side here, and he will whip it past Blair Coffin to make it 1-0 NYR after 40. Final frame, Panthers make it interesting on the power play. It's the Gooch, Nathan Gooch, tipping it out front, and it was even Steven. Midway through the period, however, shot from the point. Coffin makes the first stop. Yeamans right there to pounce his second of the game, and it would prove to be the winner as the Rangers survive a late, desperate flurry by Pickering and hold on to take it by a 2-1 final. An East Division tilt between the Wellington Dukes and the Whitby Fury. 9:15 in, Whitby hits, and boy, oh boy, Kyle Renaud would love to have that one back. His reaction pretty much says it all. 1-0 Whitby. Wellington hits back. It's one of the goals of the week. Elijah Gonsalves splits the D, rips it past Luke Pearson. Gorgeous stuff. And they were all knotted up at one apiece. Whitby comes oh so close to taking the lead again. Lund on the breakaway. Renaud just squeezing the pads in time. Second period, the keeper stole the show. Renaud robs Carson Gallagher right there. At the other end, Pearson sprawls to deny Daniel Panetta. Puck comes right across the goal line after, but it stays out. Shortly after, Frank Vitucci, ping, right off the bar. Third frame, the Dukes hop back out front. Andrew Rinaldi blasted past Pearson. 2-1 for Wellington. Whitby scrambling for the equalizer. Gallagher himself will rip it off the iron though. And with a minute 23 left, Gallagher finally gets it to go. Slams it home. 2-2. They were off to overtime, and in the extra frame, the Dukes would prevail. Pearson makes the first stop at the puck. Just dribbles past Rinaldi. Pokes it into the empty net. That gives Wellington the win as they take down Whitby 3-2 on the road on Family Day. Now, earlier this year, the Ontario Junior Hockey League introduced a new initiative, the OJHL Foundation. Now, you can head to ojhlfoundation.ca to find out more about it, but the goal is to help current and former OJ players both on and off the ice with life's challenges. You can also donate to the cause to help out if you wish. ojhlfoundation.ca, once again, to find out more. This week's alumni update brought to you by Warrior Hockey. Warrior, official partner of the CHCH Game of the Week and the OJ Today. And Alex Tonge, a former Kingston Voyager, was named the Atlantic Hockey Player of the Week. He's now with the Robert Morris Colonials in the NCAA, and the forward tied his career high with 4 points in a single game last week. Tonge leads the Colonials with 13 goals and 28 points. He played for the Vs from 2011 through 2015. OJ Trivia this week brought to you by Cool Sports. Cool, the official apparel provider to the OJHL. This week's question, we're going back 10 years here. Who were the 2008-2009 Buckland Cup champions? The first correct answer to our Morocco at the OJHL.ca will win a cool prize pack. This week's OJ interview brought to you by Barnburner Hockey. Barnburner, official partner of the OJHL Game of the Week and the OJ Today. Hey everybody, welcome back to the OJ Today, and my partner on the CHCH Game of the Week broadcast, Alex Bloomfield, joins me now once again. Alex, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on again.
Well, last weekend we had the second last CHCH broadcast of the season between Aurora and the Pickering Panthers. And the Tigers, of course, have just been in a free fall lately. They needed a win in the absolute worst way against a Panther squad that's been gaining on them in the north. And you know this Pickering squad inside and out as their play-by-play broadcaster. What did you think of the game just in general, first of all?
Yeah, it was interesting. The first period, I think they were kind of feeling each other out. It didn't feel like the earlier matchups between the two teams where there'd been a lot more firepower in the early going. The Panthers, but an early tough one. They got past their goaltender, and then after that, it felt like they were playing earlier in the season again, where they were buzzing around. They just couldn't finish, which was their problem for the first 3 months of the season in and around the net. They had a lot of chances. Couldn't get it past Durante. I thought had a decent game for Aurora, but not outstanding. Just the Panthers couldn't get any sort of grade A shots towards the front of the goal, just chances in around the net. And Aurora just slowly built that lead, a crucial late second period goal, and that's a big win for Aurora. It really stops them from having that much of a detraction from having this huge slump, because they're going to end up in a pretty safe playoff position. It's not first, but the third first doesn't really matter a whole lot in the North right now. There's so much parity.
Well, let me ask you about that, because Aurora had lost 16 of 20, 8 of 10, and 5 straight going into the matchup. They clinched a playoff berth with that win. But what's your take on the squad going into the postseason? You basically segued nicely into this question, because are they going to be able to right the ship and actually make some kind of a run?
Yeah, I saw some signs of it in that game on the Saturday afternoon. It looked like a bit of a different team than we'd seen for the month and a half before, where they were just sliding down the standings. Didn't look like they were giving anybody any fight. But this team, I think, in the wake of losing Joseph Mitzi, there's a bit of the power, I guess, struggle that is gone at this point. The players got to replace all that scoring, and somehow I think they're coming together as a team. A little bit of the turmoil behind the bench has been cleared up, and they're able to, I think, head in with pretty clear heads now. There's some veterans on that team with OHL experience. I wouldn't write them off in the first round of the playoffs. Absolutely not. Against Newmarket, who's not far above them in the standings, I would say, or overall talent-wise, even without a guy like Mitzi.
Well, we're now on the verge of the playoffs. First round gets underway shortly. Let's pause for a moment and get your take on some of the top performers from the regular season. The top scorers were actually way down from a year ago, weren't they? When Andrew Petrucci put up 50 goals, 100 points. This year is likely going to see the leaders finish around 25 points off that pace. But who would you choose as, who would be in your top 3 anyway for MVP this season?
Yeah, it's really interesting, the drop in scoring. Well, maybe it's because the goaltenders have been so good this year. I'm not sure. We'll talk about that in a second. But Adam Kim is my guy I'm going to stick with right now on the top of my list. Interestingly enough, he's not at the top of the list points-wise. I think it's interesting this year because you have a duo at the top again with Luciani and Aubin, which I think if you're talking about an MVP, it's tough to have when you have two such good players on the same team to give to one or the other. I like Adam Kim. He's done it almost alone in Kingston scoring-wise, similar to what Joseph Mitzi was doing, but with him leaving to the ECHL about a month ago in this season. Tough to give the player like that who get an MVP despite that great achievement. So I like Adam Kim. Brandon Yeamans will get a look, but again, a trade mid-season for him makes things a little difficult with an MVP. So Adam Kim is my number one guy. Joey Maziarz, I think, will get a look or two as well, leading the defense corps there for North York.
Definitely, he does deserve a good hard look, no question about it. We've really seen some outstanding goaltending, as you mentioned, this year. A few guys stepped up, not only led their teams to extended winning streaks, but also posted some phenomenal stats. Who would be on your ballot for goalie of the year?
I got to put Jed Alexander on it. I think at this point he leads save percentage, goals against average, shutouts individually, and he played 42 games too. So I think you got to give to Jed Alexander, despite the good team in front of him. He's pretty outstanding. Those numbers are incredible. A lot of good candidates in behind him. If you had a first and second team All-Star, for example, that second team spot is definitely more up for grabs. There's a lot of good names there. Luke Pearson's one that jumps to mind for me for sure, with his stats up around the .939 save percentage as well, 39 games. He's still young as well. Mitchell Weeks will get a look or two. He split time a little bit more, and you go down the roster a bit, and you'll find guys like Alexei Masenko who gets overlooked in Kingston, who didn't have a great year, the Voyageurs, but man, some individual efforts from him really turned some heads and earned him an NCAA look as well. We
talked about that during the CHCH broadcast. I was so impressed seeing him up close and personal. His stats not the greatest this year because the Vs weren't the greatest, unfortunately, but man, what a great goaltender. And finally, 5 current OJHLers were recently named to the NHL Central Scouting's midterm rankings to go along with the 15 alumni that could hear their names called in this June's draft. The OJ just continuing to pump out top-level talent. Who would be your picks as the top prospect, the pick, I suppose, the number one guy for the top pro prospect in the league this season. We've got about 45 seconds here, Alex.
For me, I think it's Eric Ciccolini. He's sort of been on the top of the heap all season long. There was a bit there where Costa Manicus was sort of at the same level as him, but I think Ciccolini has removed himself head at least above everyone else as far as the NHL prospects go, or at least to the next pro level. For him, he's in the top 10 in scoring as a 2001, which is pretty impressive stuff. With the junior Canadiens as well, which is not a top team in the league, mid-pack. That's also, I think, impressive to put those numbers that he's done. Ciccolini is my number one guy. Zach Ewens has been steady back there, steady development defensively, but I think he's still a step behind a guy like Ciccolini. And obviously, Manicus will get a good look as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go as well in some of the, not even before the 7th round in the NHL draft. So we'll see where things go there. But for me, it is Ciccolini as the standout. It's
been so much fun doing the CHCH broadcast with you all year, and I'll see you again soon because you'll be back on to talk about stuff during the playoffs. Alex, thanks a lot, my friend.
Looking forward to it.
This segment of the OJ Today is brought to you by Troy Hockey Apparel. Troy, the official jersey of the OJHL. Hey folks, welcome back to the OJ Today. While the North York Rangers have sewn up not only first place in the South Division, but also the Southeast Conference, there's a vicious three-way fight going on beneath them in the standings. St. Mike's, the Junior Canadiens, and the Toronto Patriots have been exchanging spots on what seems like a daily basis for the past few weeks in the battle for second place in the South. Now, the Patriots had a chance to pick up essential points on Saturday as they hosted the Markham Royals. This turned out to be one of the best games of the week. The Royals break the ice 6:44 in. Luca Esposito notching his 15th of the year on the doorstep there to make it 1-0 for Markham. Soon after, the Royals on the attack, Christos Rodis does it himself over the shoulder of Mario Pescia to make it 2-0. Fast forward to Markham leading 3-1 in the second. Paul Spadafora cleans up the garbage out front and cuts the deficit to 3-2 for the Pats. And then
here comes Russell now down the wing. Russell shrugs off his man. Nifty little move. Russell cuts it up. Oh, come on! Get out of town! What a beautiful goal!
Anthony Regan with the call. Eric Russell, the sublime solo effort. 5 minutes later, though, Zach Sirota pokes it past Mario Pescia to give the Royals back the lead. Back and forth they went. David Gucciardi, Roof Daddy, past Andrew Albano to tie it once again. It's 4-4. We pick it up late in the third now. Pat's net empty, trailing 6-5.
Stadig, right down Main Street. Stadig cuts wide. Scores! What a goal by Dirk Stadig!
And that sent it to overtime.
Can't get a shot off. Looks over here to Spadafora. 1 minute even. Tip. Scores! Dickinson! What a redirect, Jack Weber. Absolutely perfect redirection.
What a game, seriously. Okay, Newmarket hosting Whitby. The Canes were attempting to catch Markham for first in the North. They hit first. Claudio De Gasperis will make it 1-0 for the Hurricanes right there. And then 12 minutes later, Adam Trotman will have the puck bounce to him right out front here, and in it goes, and it's 2-0 for Newmarket. Skip ahead to the third frame now and cue the Whitby comeback. It all starts with Shane Bolt. He will wrist it past Mitchell Weeks, and the Fury cut the deficit in half, trailing by a single goal now. 25 seconds later, another funny bounce. There seemed to be tons of those last week. Brett Benham pounces, and they were all tied up at 2 apiece, and then
now Smith's on it. The captain for the Fury looks back, high slot, shot, scores! Oh, with 58.1 seconds to go.
Boy, Anthony Regan's lungs were getting a serious workout last weekend. Big character win for the Fury, who claw back to win it 3-2. Okay, one more. This was a doozy as well. St. Mike's and the Junior Canadiens, two teams battling for second in the South. Dustin Hutton, Johnny on the spot here, banks it in to make it 1-0 for The JRC's second stanza, and Matthew falls with the sweet dangle here. Labura makes the first stop. Matthew to Cesare knocks in the second chance to make it 2-zip. 2 minutes later, though, the Buzzers get back on track. Kobe Diamond squeezing it past Christian Mariachi, and that cuts it to 2-1. 50 seconds after that, Ayrton Martino with some mustard on that wrist shot as he ties it up at 2 apiece. The JRCs would retake the lead, however. Mad scramble out front. Graydon James will shovel it in to make it 3-2 for Toronto. The double blue come right back, though. Jonah Alexander will get it back for Finn Brown to even it up yet again. The teams would trade goals, so it was off to overtime, and it was Finn Brown playing the role of hero for the Buzzers, roofing it past Mariachi to give St. Mike's a huge extra point over the Canadiens in the race for second in the South. OJ Standings brought to you by Jostens, the official ring and awards provider to the OJHL. Starting in the West, Oakville has clinched the conference title, followed by Buffalo and Burlington, but that Brampton-Georgetown battle is going to go until the final weekend of the regular season. In the North, Markham, Newmarket, and Aurora have qualified. Pickering will have to play the crossover game against the West. In the South, North York, St. Mike's, the Toronto Patriots, and the Junior Canadiens have all qualified. And in the East, Cobourg, Trenton, Whitby, and Wellington have made it. Kingston will miss the playoffs for the first time in decades, and Lindsay will as well in 6th place. The Chaos Top 5 brought to you by Chaos Hats, the official hatwear provider to the Ontario Junior Hockey League. At number 5, Georgetown against Brampton. Clinical passing here by the Raiders as they go tic-tac-toe. Bailey Malala to finish on the doorstep. Number 4, Elijah Gonzalez splits the Fury defense and rips it past Whitby's Luke Pearson. Part of Wellington's 3-2 win on the day. Number 3, there were so many awesome solo rushes last week. Eric Russell of the Pats had another one against Markham. Dishpan soft hands from in tights. Number 2, same game, his teammate Dirk Stadig, little shake and bake past the whole Markham team, and then the beautiful finish that tied it up in the dying seconds. And number 1, on the CHCH game of the week, Jack Varga of Aurora powers past the Pickering defender, roof daddy past Tanner Shepard. Varga's 5'6", plays like he's 6'5" out there. Gorgeous. That's our Chaos Play of the Week. And that's all the time we've got for today. Next week, though, Mississauga Chargers head coach Joe Washkarak will join me here in the studio as we will break down every first-round postseason series in our annual playoff preview show. And just remember, to keep up to date with the league, you can always head to ojhl.ca. And, of course, all of your social media options are right there for you to check out as well. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.